Family, what is up? It is your boy Providence back again with another video, and happy new year, happy 2023 to everybody watching this video. For this video I'm going to be using the Sakin MG38. It's an LMG. You know what it is, it's an LMG. It's so you move slow, but it does heavy damage. You have to pre-aim a lot. You can't really run around push with it. For this gameplay I almost dropped a nuke. I didn't start recording until I got my VTOL, but this is a nukeable lobby, but I did make some mistakes towards the end there. But for today's commentary, y'all, I wanted to talk about the the new year, new me shenanigans that we always get into at the start of the year. I know everybody is busy planning out their goals. If you haven't already thought about it, we're all trying to probably renew our gym memberships. We're starting to think about where we are in different areas of our life, relationally, financially, career-wise, or whatever it is you're thinking about. And it's always a good time at the beginning of the year to hit that refresh button, to think about certain things and make the dedicated changes you need to make. I know for myself, man, I'm thinking about what I really want this channel to become over this next year. Spiritual goals, financial goals, fitness goals, you name it, I got it. And if you're like me, you're probably thinking through a lot of the things that you want to do as well. But we do got to be honest, man. What tends to happen by the time, second, third week, maybe a month into the new year happens, basically it becomes an old year and we go back to the old us, right? It starts out new year, new me, then it becomes an old year, and all the old stuff that we used to do kind of pops right back up into our lifestyle, basically. And I think that one of our goals should be to try to avoid that same cycle that seems to happen every year. And so how do we do that? I think firstly, man, we need to not be overwhelmed with all the changes we want to make. Maybe this is just unique to me, but I look at a lot of the things that I want to improve and I have a long laundry list of things, and I think I'm good at sort of dreaming about the big picture and what I want to see happen, but not very good at the details. And I think that what you should be trying to focus on is maybe small, minute changes that you make into a ritual. I think the most important thing that has to happen with any sort of change we want to make is taking the small things and making it into a habit. We have to establish habits. We have to establish rituals. We need to train ourselves to do a new thing and do that thing automatically. If you can get to the point where exercise becomes something you wake up maybe 7 a.m. every day and you just exercise, to the point where it just becomes a ritual, then it doesn't feel like something you have to force yourself to do. And that's the problem, is that a lot of the changes that we're dealing with, it's hard because it's still at that point where you feel like you have to force yourself to do it despite how you actually feel. But once we get through that initial phase of having to force ourselves to do something, it gets easier once the habit has been enshrined and it becomes routine. I think it's also important to remember that as human beings, we often need to be reminded of why we're doing the thing that we're doing. We're easy to forget, man. It's just so easy to go about life and get into the sort of the monotony of the day and going to work, coming home, just doing whatever you need to do to survive, and the goals just kind of get put on the back burner because, well, we just tend to forget why we're trying to do what we need to do. So I think it's important, man, to find ways to remind yourself. I don't know if it means writing it down, putting up pictures on the wall, I don't know, sending yourself reminders from your phone, text messages, whatever it is you need to do, talking to other people and having them kind of hold you accountable for certain things. But the reality is we just need to have these reminders to stay motivated, because if you don't, unless you just have a really strong will, and there are some strong-willed persons that when they set their mind to do something because they're tired of the way things have been, they're gonna get it done. But most of us struggle with keeping our momentum high, and we need to be reminded, like for instance, you're trying to lose weight. Think about the fact that I'm trying to extend my life. I want to be here for my family. I want to be here for my kids. want to increase my attraction levels so I could probably find a wife or a girlfriend or whatever the case may be. But there needs to be this why question that we constantly answer, and that's going to keep us motivated throughout the year when we don't have that, initial new year, new me motivation to keep us going. Something else I feel like I've learned on this journey of self-improvement is the need to commit to struggling forward. The need to commit to struggling forward. And what I mean by that is this. I think that one, we don't really like struggle. We like for things to be easy. We like to do things perfectly when we set out to do them. When we fail, it hurts our ego. It discourages us. No one likes to fail. We often interpret failure as some sort of evidence that we are inferior. And so because of the fear of failure, we don't like to try. And so struggle becomes this thing that we want to avoid. And I think that if we're gonna ever have any progress on this change, this new year change, this motivation, however you want to frame it, there needs to be this recognition and acceptance of the fact that you're gonna struggle and that you have to commit to struggle. You have to commit to the fact there's gonna be ugly days. There's gonna be days where you fail, days where you planned everything. You had a goal in mind, how the day was gonna go. You wake up and you didn't do anything you planned to do that day. It all just fell apart. And in that moment, you can choose to go, okay, you know what? Tomorrow's a new day. We go again. Or you can say, man, you know what? I don't like the feeling of failing. I feel discouraged. Let me just give up and go back to the way things were and just accept the mediocrity that I'm trying to fight against, right? And I've been to both places, times where I, don't do things the way I want to, and I go back to the mediocrity, and times where I feel like I've done what I've wanted to do and, built off of that, or when I failed, chose to keep going. So for me, one of the things I'm looking out for is my mental sort of response to when things don't go well, and to commit to the struggle anyway. Commit to that, like struggle forward. As long as you're struggling forward, you're still making progress. Even if you're not cruising forward, it's still better to struggle forward than to not be going forward at all. Family, patience is so important, man. Patience is so important. Patience that you have to have with yourself when you fail. Patience sort of grounded in this hope that if you keep chipping away, making slow progress, one of these days you're gonna open up the floodgates. You're gonna see the avalanche of success, of change that you want to see. I'm reminded of the movie Shawshank Redemption, just as an example. For those of you who haven't seen that movie, please stop whatever you're doing and watch that movie. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. It's highly ranked on IMDb.com, and it's my favorite movie of all time. And in that movie, for those of you who don't know, the main character gets wrongfully imprisoned for decades, right? And he is planning his escape while he is in prison. And so he has a cell in the prison next to some wall that he begins to chip through the wall using a small little pickaxe or something like that he had. And he slowly picks through this clay wall when you realize that it was just a clay wall. And he picks through it and he picks through it and he picks through it for like 20 years. And at the end of the 20 years, he breaks open this hole, and then he's able to kind of go through the pipelines and escape from the prison. And trust me, it's a lot more lit than how I'm explaining it. But the point is this. It took him 20 years of slowly picking forward until he could get to his freedom, right? And I use that as an example to say, man, for us, like, it's gonna take time of slowly it might not take you 20 years, or for some of us it might, who knows? But at the end of the day, like, it's this never ending pushing forward, even if it's a slow pace, never giving up until you get that freedom that you want. And so whatever it is, man, just commit to it, have the patience for it, and trust that you're gonna get it if you pursue it. And so anyway, that's it for me. I just want to thank you guys for listening again. This has been Providence. Happy New Year. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe and continue to show support, man. This is the year I'm trying to get the channel monetized at the very least, so please support me as I continue to grow this channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.